after a business owner reaches a new level of success is when they feel misaligned.
Welcome to Seven Figure Copy, the show where we refine your messaging so it reflects the level you're now operating at with clarity and confidence. I'm Gina Whitehouse, your expert conversion copywriter, and this podcast is for established, expert-led female business owners who know their work is exceptional but suspect their website and sales copy may be underselling the caliber of what they deliver. In each episode, we'll explore how strategic, ethical copy elevates your website, sales pages, and core messaging so your words communicate trust before someone ever books a consult or starts a conversation with you. If you're ready for a trusted partner who helps you clearly articulate what you do and why it matters, then you're in the right place. If you've ever looked at your website and how you're showing up online and thought, nothing is technically wrong, but I just can't pinpoint this, but this feeling doesn't feel like me anymore, then I'm really excited to bring you this episode today. Today, I'm joined by Shauna Thayer. Shauna is a marketing strategist, a brand expert, and founder of Bloom Creative. She has over 20 years of experience working in the marketing world, and she helps established business owners get clarity, consistency, and the support they need to show up with confidence and grow their business. So Shauna works with business owners who have built real momentum, but they're starting to feel a gap between the caliber of their work and the way that their brand is presenting itself. And as you know, as we're discussing this season, growth demands a different level of polish and consistency, both visually and also in your messaging. So in this conversation, we're talking about the signs and the things that you should be looking for when your brand no longer matches your business. I am so thrilled that you're here for this conversation, and I think you're going to find a few things that you will identify with right away. So reach out to me after you listen. I would love to hear what aha moments you have. Hey, Shauna, I am so glad you can join me here today so we could have a conversation.
Thanks for having me, Gina.
Yeah, so today we're going to dive into what to do when your brand no longer matches your business. And I thought you would be the perfect person to bring on because you and I have talked a little bit about this and you've actually done some work for me too, which has been really awesome. So before we actually get into our talk, you allowed me to do a little copy audit for you. So how do you feel about that? We're going to get into this. What do you think?
Excited. I love it. When visuals and writing pair together, it's wonderful. I love it.
Great. So I don't want to spend more than just like 5 minutes doing this. We're going to be quick. But Shauna gave me permission to look at her website's headline and subheadline. And I went a little further and rewrote also a sentence that comes right after that. So let's just talk about it. So when you hit Shauna's website, you're going to see a headline and it says, "Creativity meets strategy. No more marketing guesswork." And then under that, there is a headline that says, "I help you turn marketing overwhelm into clarity with creative strategy that puts people first and actually works." So how do you feel about the current headline and subheadline you have right now? Do you feel like it still fits you? What are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, I have played with this so much, which is part of the reason I think having an expert like copywriter take a look is helpful because it's like you want to say so much in so little room. And, it has to be understood by your audience, but there's also so much you want to pack in. So
yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard too, right? When you're writing for yourself and it's hard to get out of tweaking mode, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me really quick, who is your ideal target audience? Who are your clients?
Yeah, I work with established business owners. So they're not startups. They're people who have been in business at least 3 to 5 years. They've outgrown their branding. What used to work doesn't, right? And that usually happens because they've now established a level of success in their business and it no longer aligns. So that's my ideal customer there.
Okay, good. Because you said something that you told me you did an intake form before we did this so I can get to know your business more too. And in your intake form and just now you said that you work with established business owners. So let's keep that in mind. So one thing I noticed looking at your headline and subheadline, and maybe you've felt this too, is that, okay, the language leans into a little bit of overwhelm and relief. Like you say, overwhelm and relief. And that's fine. Okay. But I know the type of client that you're going for. And I know you've also heard me say a million times, like hit the pain points, right?
Yeah.
And some of those pain points are that overwhelm. But I think for your target audience, I think maybe mentioning overwhelm actually might be, how would I say this? I think it might be attracting a little bit more of someone who's just starting a business. But let me ask you, who your potential clients that are coming to you, are you getting mostly established business owners, or do you get a lot of people that come to you that are perhaps starting in their business, or they are in the beginning roles of their big business or beginning stages?
Yeah, good question. So there is overwhelm in all stages of business, right? Let's be honest about that.
Totally.
And so you're right. There is overwhelm as a new business owner. For me, typically my clients, the overwhelm comes in when it's, a lack of time to commit. So they don't, like you said, it takes a lot of time to really dig into your own brand and marketing. And they are overwhelmed because they know it isn't aligned, but they don't have the time to figure that out. They just need someone, an expert, to handle that for them.
Yeah. So what I kind of wanted to do, and I'm just explaining my thinking about how I went into rewriting the headline and subheadline, is I wanted to actually move a little bit over from overwhelm, even though I know that's a pain point of theirs. And I wanted to kind of like elevate the language a little bit. So let me just give you what I've written, and then you can tell me what you think. Okay. So the new headline I wrote is marketing strategy that finally makes sense and actually gets implemented. And then you like it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then for the sub-headline, strategic partnership for established business owners who need clarity, direction, and consistent execution without building or managing a full marketing team.
So good. So good.
Thanks. You like it? Yeah? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I didn't use the word overwhelm in there, but I was focusing on being a little bit more just clear about what they're actually looking for. Like these things actually not having these things, right, cause them overwhelm, right? Like when they don't have clarity, when they don't have the direction or that consistent execution, right? Because when they work with you, they're going to get that execution. When they don't have those things, they have the overwhelm. But I almost felt like we took that overwhelm and broke it into 3 different words that might qualify them a bit more. Like when they land on your website and they see that above the full section, they should read that headline and subheadline and immediately say, oh, that's me. Right?
100%. And I think you named the transformation beautifully. Like you named what I actually do. And I think that's what's so hard. Do you know about marketing and people are like, what is that? Right? What do I get for that? And you can even say strategic marketing. And so I love how you broke that down to really make it tangible for the non-marketer to understand that, yeah, that's me,
Yeah. And we also put in there established business owners, right? So we're calling out exactly who it is. I don't think you had that in there before.
Yeah.
I'm looking back.
Yeah. I don't think I did either. Yeah. I don't think I did either but I would love to play with that. Yeah.
So then I scrolled down and you have like a statement there. I won't read it, but I'll tell you what I changed it to. So I wanted to include I guess I would call it like an empathy statement. So this is what it says now. It says, you've built something meaningful, but your marketing still feels reactive, inconsistent, or harder than it should. So it's almost like saying, hey, I understand you. You're validating them. You have a good business. You have something meaningful that you've put together, something that you've put your heart into. You've worked hard at it, but something still feels reactive, inconsistent, or harder than it should. So you're automatically making that kind of an emotional connection, but not too feely. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, then you can go into, okay, this is what it's going to look like when we work together. Not in those words, but kind of painting that vision of what that can be. So I think the whole idea here is that when someone just lands on the page, they should be able to self-identify right away. And I think breaking up that just idea of overwhelm into almost like more like something that's a little bit more tangible, that they would identify with a little easier, then I think it's going to let them qualify themselves better. So how do you feel? Do you feel like this feels more aligned with the kind of conversations you want to have with potential clients?
It does. I think it makes it more clear who it's for. And overwhelm, like you said, I never really thought of that. There is overwhelm at every stage. And so
absolutely,
really calling out who I help is important. So I love it.
All right, great. So let's get into our conversation now, because I'm excited to talk to you about this. this season is all about talking to my listeners and telling them that the theme is about getting their messaging to match the caliber of their work. Because I've seen just over the last year, this is the common theme of my customers or my clients that are coming to me to have them write copy, is that they know they have something wonderful, good, a program, let's say, or a service, a product that's going to help a lot of people, but they're having trouble writing their own copy. And when they do write it, they know that it's just not matching the caliber of what they have. It's not showing just the wonderful greatness of the thing that they've put together. So you work with established business owners. And I want to ask, like, at what point do you typically see someone realize, my brand doesn't look, it doesn't look wrong, but it just doesn't feel like me anymore, or it just doesn't even match the caliber of what I'm putting out there?
Yeah. So what I love and what I usually see happen is businesses evolve. That's a very natural thing to have happen. And usually after a business owner reaches a new level of success is when they feel misaligned with their brand. And so, we all start out and we learn and we grow and we develop, our ideal client. So it's not that anybody's doing anything wrong. It is your business has evolved. Maybe your product, your services, your processes have evolved, and your brand just doesn't reflect that anymore. And we talked about it earlier, like being so close to that, it's sometimes hard to identify. And so that's kind of usually I see when someone has reached a new level of growth. And for me, most of my clients, that's in that 3 to 5 years is when they come to me and say, things are feeling messy and out of alignment. It, help me kind of clarify this. So.
Yeah, that's good. So what are those early signs that a business has that you see where someone feels like, okay, I've outgrown my branding? How would you describe some of these signs even before the business can articulate even what's off?
Yeah. So I think that shows up with visuals most often, is where people notice it first. And not because that is the most important by any means, but it's the most visible, right? It's the thing that we see. And so it's not the whole brand. And a lot of times it's not even the root issue. And that's why kind of working with an experienced designer that kind of also has a strategy background, you can go to somebody and say, I need a new logo. Okay, why do you need a new logo? Like what is deeper there? What is your brand needing that's missing that you as a client, and a lot of times they will say a new logo because that's kind of tangible to them. That's why when new clients come to me, I have also an intake form where we talk about what's actually needed. And a lot of times it is a brand audit to say, is the copy out of alignment? In which case I refer to, someone like you, Gina, or is it maybe you do need a logo package and guidelines. So I think visuals just are the first place that they notice the misalignment.
Okay, that's good. I wasn't even planning to bring this up, but we can go in this direction. So I came to you recently, right? And what was it, sometime in the fall, probably, I think maybe it was like December, we did this. And I came to you and I'm like, you know what? I need some social media graphics. And I don't have time myself to do it. I could do it, but it's not the way my best time is used. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to tap on Shauna. She's going to help me put some just new graphics, like some carousel posts and things for social media. Some Seagull post images, things for the podcast, as you guys are seeing right now. If you looked on social media and saw me post about it, these are the graphics that Shauna created for me, and she did a really great job. And it was so nice to hand it off to someone else. And I came to you, and I can't remember my exact words. I know part of it was, I don't have time to do this myself. Could you do this for me? But I had been using the same stuff for so long. And it was so nice to work with you because you asked me the questions, and again, something fell off. I felt off. I just felt like I've outgrown this now, right?
Yep.
I'm sure you've seen that happen with a lot of clients who have come to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, at some point in business, efficiency and speed and outsourcing that really does become more valuable than the money you're investing in it, right? And so
Totally.
A lot of my clients, they did a beautiful job DIYing it in the beginning. And now they just need someone to take it to the next level, to identify those blind spots. We're all very close to our own businesses. So whether that's copywriting, whether that's visuals, having somebody come in who's worked with hundreds of businesses, really take a look. A lot of times we can spot patterns, right? And that the business owner might not be seeing. And we can say, this is where you need to focus next. This is what's, kind of your barrier to the next step in your business, in your branding, in your marketing, in your copy, that kind of stuff. So, I think it's, like you said, Gina, the time saved in bringing an expert sometimes is really worth it if you get to that level of business where you can do that.
If you've ever thought, my business has evolved, but my website still feels pieced together, or my expertise is strong, but my messaging doesn't reflect the level I operate at, I want you to know right now that you're not alone. Every established business owner reaches this point where your growth just outpaces your message. And when your message doesn't match the offer or the service you provide now, it costs you credibility, clarity, and premium opportunities. So I'm here today to tell you that I want to help you go from second guessing how you're presenting your offers and expertise to showing up online with messaging that feels cohesive and aligned with the caliber of your work. Today, I'm inviting you to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat with me to determine whether you need a strategic copy audit or high converting done for you copy that finally reflects the level you're operating at. Go to the show notes today to book your call or visit www.whitehousesm.com. So I want to ask you, Shauna, from your perspective, what role does visual consistency play in building trust for a business and its potential clients or customers before they even book a call with them?
Visual consistency is huge in building trust. So a lot of times we go to a website or we go to social media platforms, and before we even read a word, we decide whether that business feels legitimate or established. We've all gone to those websites where it's like, oh, this looks DIY. And while the product or service or business may be well established and provide great value, the perceived value with disconnected copy, visuals, it looks like maybe a different business on each platform really erodes at that brand integrity and then ultimately trust.
Yeah, that's really good. And I absolutely agree with you. And I am one of those people who look at that kind of stuff. A lot of my background is also in graphic design. And when I'm going to look at a business, I'll check them out on social media. Excuse me, I'll check them out on social media. I'll look at their website and I'll look at other competitors, like whoever I'm looking to hire, and whoever looks the most professionally put together is the one I go with usually. But I'm also trying to balance that with what the words are saying, obviously that too, and how much information they're giving out. If I can get my questions answered, that's really important, So at the end of the day, it's not always the design that makes me make the decision, but I know for myself, it is a big, big factor. So I work with a lot of established business owners who come to me because the words on their websites and sales pages, like I said before, just don't match the caliber of what they offer. So I'm curious, what happens? What do you think happens when someone keeps pushing forward with a brand that no longer matches their level, even if the work and the words itself are excellent?
So what I see most often is it makes it harder to sell when a brand image hasn't caught up with the value that company provides. It erodes at the perceived value, which is a real danger in sales because, again, we're talking about that trust. We're talking about that brand integrity. And in my opinion, it's really going to make selling a lot harder.
Yeah, I agree. And like we talked about in the beginning is that, businesses evolve over time. It's always good to go back and look at what we have on our websites, not only the visuals, but the words. I get a question a lot is, how often should I go and update my website? I always say at least once per year. It would be really great and ideal if once a quarter we go back and make sure even that the words on the websites, on our website or any of our marketing materials, even like the graphics and things that we have on our social media, that they're still speaking to what our business is offering now. The ideal client that you may have, like that changes too. I can even say over the span of my business now, it's been a couple of years, and the person I worked with in my first year of providing copywriting, is very different than who I work with now. And I've even seen a big shift over just the last 8 to 9 months. And so like over the Christmas break, I went back and changed a lot of the messaging on my own website because I still want, we want to make sure that when someone hits these pages, that it's speaking directly to them. So as our business has evolved, as our service has evolved, but it's 2026 now, and so much has changed over just the last year. There's been such a shift in, what audiences are going for, what they're looking for. I've talked about this on the podcast, even in season 2, about how there's a trust recession. People aren't willing to just drop the thousands of dollars that they used to for a group program right now. They'd rather spend money on something that, if they're going to spend that much money, they're going to spend it on something that's going to answer that exact problem that they have, right? So as our services have to evolve, my client services have to evolve in their products, it's so important to go back and make sure to set aside time, even if it's just, it's hard sometimes to just get like an hour done a little bit here or there every day. But if you just choose a batch time, like a time to sit down a whole day and say, okay, this is the one day every quarter where I'm going to go through my website and look at what I'm posting on social, any other kind of marketing materials, even what you have on Google, like Google Business, your descriptions and things there, and going back to see, does this still correctly reflect what I'm offering now? Has it changed? Does the language need to change? Has the target audience changed? Because then we got to go back and change some of the messaging too. So it's also important to go back and do that. What do you tell your clients about that when they ask, well, how often should I go back? And I don't know, do you have people asking yourself that? Like, how often should I change the color scheme on my website, or should I go back and look at the words of what I've got there?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great recommendation, Gina. And I would say, I know we're talking to established business owners here, but, you may have people listening to your podcast that are newer in business and, maybe they feel like they need to have an ideal client. When you start a business, you think you do, but, you said it beautifully, Gina, where over time, my first year in business too, I worked with a lot of different businesses, a lot of different business types, a lot of different business owners. And, then I refined what felt most aligned for me, who I enjoyed working with most, right? And so I was constantly going back and saying, okay, who am I attracting then with, on my website? Am I attracting more of this type of client that I don't want to work with at this point, right? And so I think, certainly in the beginning too, even, more than yearly looking at the copy and things, I would say with the visuals, I almost feel like I have the danger of people wanting to update too often. They see a color that they like on someone else's website and they're like, throw that in my color palette or something like that. If they don't really go through the process of defining their own brand, they're kind of looking at, I like that, and let's throw this in. And then it gets really muddy. And so I would say also really revisiting your brand, every 3 years, I would take a look, right? I mean, designs change, colors change. Not to say I'm not saying that you need to change your color palette every year, but just really looking to make sure you're visually still relevant, still visuals are speaking to the people you still want them to speak to. But I would say don't be changing your visuals up, as a brand identity yearly. Certainly update, if you want to yearly look at new social media, templates and things like that. Definitely, but not your brand as a whole yearly.
Yeah, that's really good. I had a conversation with someone last week, and it was one of my 30-minute complimentary copy chats. And we were talking about a potential project and partnering together. And something you said just reminded me of this, where she was saying that she was doing a lot of in-person meetings with her service, but now she's taking it mostly online. And even just that shift from you're providing the same service, going from, okay, now I'm meeting with people, but now I'm doing it online. That's a shift just right there in your messaging. And some people want to meet you in person. Some people maybe don't want to do it online, but then there is a category of people who are like, yes, I want that and I want to do it online. So again, going back and figuring out how to change the messaging from that. But then the conversation we also talked about was the colors. And she had some doubt. And, I don't know if my website should be these colors. And I said, what feels good to you? And obviously there's psychology behind it, color psychology, but she was looking at someone else. And we kind of used that as an example. I'm like, yeah, I know you're looking at this person and you're looking at her colors and they're fun colors, but do you really feel like that's you? Do you want that on your website? And she was just like, no, I don't. And I'm like, okay, sweet. That could be a whole other conversation that I talk about all the time, is just like stay in your own lane.
Yes.
Don't look to the right and don't look to the left,
Yeah. And well, I love color psychology too. You kind of touched on that. I think we can look at somebody else, and I've done that too. I'm like, oh, their brand is so fun, and I'm like, okay, that's not aligned with my brand, those colors, and how I want my clients to feel when they land on my site. And then there's a lot of considerations too, especially with the website and digital accessibility. I think sometimes when I see clients start to add colors, maybe they had someone do their website and now they're doing updates and there's not enough contrast between the colors they're using and the text in their background. And now they're making it hard. There are accessibility requirements for digital assets, and, not knowing that, again, makes it really hard for a number of readers.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I'm there with you. And that's one of the things I do too. And a lot of copywriters don't do this, but I like to do this because I do have this background in graphic design, is that when someone puts the copy on their website, I always say, when you're done, like shoot it over to me so I can look at it, so I can look at that contrast. And you and I have had conversations about this before, but yeah, looking at the contrast and making sure, okay, you've got the words on your website now, but is it, am I going to use the right word here? Is it legible? Is it readable? Is it, right? Can you look at it and is it clear? Not only in what the messaging says, but like literally when you look at it, is it clear? Can that person read what's on the page? It's so important.
Gina, I love what you just said. And I just want to add to that, because when I see people on social media or on their website, they have a conversion copywriter write this beautiful copy, and then they stick it on their website in all script font, or they stick it on their website in the wrong color, or center an entire body of text. It actually makes our eyes and our brains work a lot harder to read it. We don't want it to be hard for our clients to read it. So really making sure, if it's a large body of text, please left justify that. Please don't put the whole thing in script font, right? So that's a beautiful add-on that you offer to your clients to say, shoot it over, I'll take a look and make sure it's legible.
Yes. So I want to wrap things up here, but I have a few more things I want to talk about. So first, when you see clients finally align their brand with where they are now, what would you say changes first for them? Do they have more confidence, clarity, or maybe how others are responding to them? What are the things that you see that when finally someone gets their brand aligned with what they're offering and the caliber of what they're offering? What do you see as a result of that?
The first thing I see change when they're finally aligned with their brand is confidence and excitement. Truly, they're like excited to share their brand. I mean, how many times have you heard a business owner say like, here's my website, but I need to update it.
All the time.
I'm still tweaking it or something like that, right? Where when it feels aligned, they're excited to share it with people. They know it's a good representation of their company and they're excited to share it. So that's usually the first shift I see.
Good. Yeah. No, I see the same thing. So for someone who's thinking right now, or let's just say they've been kind of in this season of, I'll just tweak this for myself, right? Whether it's their graphics or their copy, what would you say is the risk of someone staying in this self-audit mode where they're doing this too long, but they're really at a higher level in their business?
Yeah, I think when people stay in self-audit mode too long, we all have blind spots. And so bringing in an expert really just doesn't get you execution. It gets you a new perspective. And I think there's so much value in that. Most of my clients are not incapable of doing this work themselves. That's not the case. It is the time and the blind spots really that I see. And then when it's done, they're like, wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. I hadn't looked at it that way. And now we're ready to go. And again, they're excited and confident in how their business is showing up.
Okay. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And like you said, many of them, it's not that they couldn't do it themselves. It's just we all have those blind spots. And I'm a believer in even these small, like even little small blind spots or gaps, when they're filled in, I believe they make a huge difference. Don't you think so?
Yeah. Yeah. I love collaboration. Like I am a huge collaborator because we all
Me too.
see things from different perspectives. And I love that. And so if you can get an expert set of eyes on something in your business, it makes all the difference in and you like the clarity that comes with that. You're like, oh gosh, yeah, like that's, hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah. So I want to end the episode with this, and this is what I'm asking everybody this season. This is the question I'm going to ask you. Okay, it goes, what's one responsibility you've let go of or plan to let go of that has allowed you to expand your business, make a bigger impact, or attract better fit clients?
Yeah. So I think when you finally realize that you could do it all on your own, but you don't have to, and it's actually not the best way to grow your business, it's a huge moment as a business owner to say, I'm not incapable of doing this all on my own, but I want to grow this business. Where can I bring in somebody to help, whether that is a one-time help or retainer help? For me, early on, I brought in, obviously, I work with a tax accountant. That is an expertise I do not have. So there's certain things like that where you're like, that's a level of expertise I need help with. And then there's things this year, I started working with a business coach on systems and processes because I work. So, we kind of talked about, I worked with established businesses. I do marketing and branding audits for them, tell them where they need to focus, where they're out of alignment, make recommendations. And then I also work with clients on a monthly retained basis to support those marketing efforts. Gina, you said it so beautifully in the copy rewrite. That's that ongoing consistent support that I provide my clients so that they're showing up consistently. And, I felt like with so many clients, I was having to keep so much in my brain. And so working with a business coach to say, here is a framework that I already have, right? She already had it built. I just needed to plug my business into that framework to create operations and systems that no longer live in my head. So that's been really a gift for me this year.
Those are two really good things to outsource. The taxes, say it again, it was did you say tax accountant?
Tax accountant. Yeah.
Tax accountant. Yeah, that's really great. And then a business coach, strategist to speak into your business and help you with those things. And like for myself this year, I reached out to you over the last few months to have you come in and help me because I just knew it. I was like, oh, I could sit here and tweak these Canva graphics for so long over and over. And I'm so tired of it. I need to just hand it off, So I needed to get like an outside perspective to look at it, someone else to just give me something new and fresh, just to tap into a part of my mind that I was not tapping into.
Yeah. And those two areas, I was telling my husband, those two areas, the business coaching and the tax accountant, I said to my husband, that is the best money I've ever spent. And so when you get that, you're like, and I had a client say that to me last year. She's like, I don't view you as an expense. I view you as an investment and a partner. Very right. Good. And that is what we want. Like, that's what I want. I want to be a strategic partner, not an expense. But to help you grow your business. And so when I find, like I said, that's how I felt about this business operations specialist and my tax accountant. I'm like, yes, I will pay for that level of expertise. Thank you. This has been a huge help,
Yeah, no, it's very good. So it's been so great having this conversation with you, Shauna. Thank you so much for joining me today. How can our listeners get a hold of you? And do you have anything to give them, maybe a resource that can help them right now?
I would say the best place to find me is my website. I am on Facebook and Instagram as well. But if you go to my website, which is bloomcreativeco.com, I have free resources on there. But then I also have an area where you can see how to potentially work with me.
All right. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for joining me, Shauna, today. And I wish you well in your business. And I can't wait to continue working with you more.
Thank you so much, Gina. It's been fun.
Thank you so much for spending time with me today on this episode of 7-Figure Copy. If this conversation resonated and you know that your messaging, that your copy is not matching the caliber of the wonderful work that you do, then please reach out to me at whitehousesm.com to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat. Let's see if we're the right fit for each other and if I'm the right conversion copywriter for you. And I'll see you next time.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at mike@cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.